The Xbox One X, are we really truly ready for a mid-generation console upgrade? I'm T-Rex87 with MG Knights, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get started. The Xbox One X is going to be launching here on November 7th, and so it's going to be a really big deal. Microsoft's marketing campaign is in full force, full hype mode, and everybody seems to be super excited about this new console, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it today. Basically, gamers everywhere are screaming, and obviously we've seen the specs. And what it really boils down to is that obviously, the Xbox One X is 40% more powerful than the PS4 Pro. In my mind, does that actually truly mean anything to anybody? If you're gonna game in 4K, whether it's native 4K or, the checkerboard 4K, I want to put something up here, and I want everybody to look at this image and really just truly tell me, what exactly difference are you seeing here, honestly? Is there some massive, vast quality, difference that you're seeing that, is going to be game-changing and it's just going to be a whole amazing new thing? Because honestly, when I look at like these side-by-side comparisons, when you see like a PC versus an Xbox versus a PS4 versus blah blah blah, I hardly ever see any differences. Like sometimes I will definitely see like a little more, like the lighting effects look a little bit different, or textures look as like a little bit sharper. But like especially when you're comparing like the One X to like a PC, there's hardly any difference, honestly. Like when you get up to like that 4K quality, there's not a huge difference. So, actually, I do have a clip actually though of an Xbox One versus a PS4 Pro, and I actually wanted to show you guys because it actually shows the power difference between the two consoles side by side.
Start your engines!
Which brings me really to my point today, honestly, is that with this new console coming out, are we really truly ready for this? I mean, let's look at a couple things here, and this is what I want to talk to you about, because I'm a huge Xbox fan. I'm a huge Sony fan. I love consoles in general. I don't have like a super favorite. I primarily game on an Xbox One. That's just because this console generation, this is what all my friends are using. And if I want to play like a multiplayer game, without having to try to go meet new people on the internet, which I don't, is that, I got to get what my friends have, and that's the only reason I got an Xbox One X. And it's a great console. I love it. But games coming out now. Here's my biggest complaint that I've seen. So obviously the games, when you get it for your Xbox One X, the 4K textures aren't on the disc. And with a game like, let's say like Forza 7, that's going to be a day one 90 gigabyte patch. What the hell is that? 90 gigs. And I don't know about you guys, but I have cable internet, and through cable whatever, and I have a data limit, honestly. Is that I have like a 700 gigabyte data limit. I have like a higher tier plan. It's like the streaming and gamers plan is what they called it, or whatever. And that runs me like 120 bucks a month. And 90 gigabyte day one patch, that is a huge chunk of my internet. I'm not okay with that, really. They need to go back to, if they're gonna make this situation work with 4K textures, we need to go back to like old school, how the disc cases used to be back in the day with like the dual disc cases, where we had like 2 discs, 3 discs, 4 discs, or whatever. I think that would be something that would be, honestly, I think that would be like an ideal situation. I realize we live in the digital age, and that's not gonna happen, and it's just kind of like wishful thinking on my part. Maybe I'm just getting old. But I can't afford to, for one thing, to be downloading, 4K textures all the time. And my next point is that it only comes with a 1 terabyte hard drive. And yes, you can buy more storage, which isn't a huge deal. The price of storage has dropped dramatically in the last few years. Especially in like the last 5 years, it's come way down. Where you can get like a 4 terabyte hard drive for like not that much. Storage isn't like a huge issue, I guess, but I think that everybody's gonna chew through their storage immediately. So you're already spending $500 on a console. You have to spend another $100 on a hard drive if you don't already have one. Really, now you're getting into the $600 territory. At this point, why not just go get a gaming PC, honestly? Is kind of like my thought process here. Something that where, you're going to be able to replace the parts. And this is what a lot of gamers have actually been saying, is they want, the next console to be something where you can like take your graphic card, pop it out, and pop in a new one when like the new graphic card comes out, and you're going to always be able to stay up to date with the latest and greatest. And that would totally spell the end of console generations in general. But unless they made it in such a way to where it was truly like a plug and play, like you just like rip out this side of your Xbox, it just like clicks out, and then you just click the new one in, and there's like no issues there. That would really fragment the community for one, I think, and it would really cause issues long term. So I don't know that that's the best idea for consoles in particular. But for PC, that's great, because that's something, a lot of, if somebody's made the investment into being a PC gamer, odds are a little bit more about your machine. You're pretty comfortable with like being able to pop the graphic card out, pop a new one in, doing, even if it's just basic level stuff, doing what you need to do to keep your machine up to date. I don't know if a lot of console gamers are necessarily ready for that, and I'm not talking about everyone, but I am talking about like a large generation or a large percentage of the populace that like they don't PC game specifically because they don't want to like build a gaming PC. I'm getting way off topic. So here's what I really meant to go back to when I was talking about this. I totally went on a rant. I'm sorry for that. IGN reported that between Xbox One X and like the One S, and this is something I don't think a lot of people have considered, that the load times for Gears of War 4 have jumped between like the first campaign level, and this is just an example, not like all encompassing, but the first level of Gears of War 4, the campaign went from 10 seconds to load level to 20 seconds. That's literally a double in load time. Is that something that we're really going to be okay with? It doesn't matter if we have like all this power if we're sitting around 5 minutes to play the, just to go into any area of the game. Imagine a game like, say, like let's see how The Witcher 3 does when that comes out on the, the One X, when you guys patch that. If you do like the fast travel, you got to go from like one area to the other. The load times were already a little obnoxious. Imagine it's trying to load those 4K textures, and all of a sudden you're waiting like a minute and a half to play your game. Are people really going to stand for that? I don't think so, because that's one of the most infuriating things to me. When I'm sitting there playing a game, I don't want to wait 30 to 45 seconds. Shadow of War is another good one. That is a great game, but every time I fast travel to one region or the other, I had to sit there and wait throughout the load time. Wait for the load time, and I hate sitting there waiting for load times. It's like my number one irritation with the game. I would rather have like less graphics and a quicker load time than better graphics and a slow load time, because I've only got like so much time in my day, and I can't afford to wait like 5 minutes every time I want to go somewhere on a game. This does bring me to something that that I am hopeful for the future. I have no doubt in my mind that the Xbox One X is going to be a successful console in its own right, in its own place. I don't think that like from now on, here on out, I don't know if Xbox and Microsoft's really necessarily going to dominate the console market. I think Sony has a little bit too much of a stranglehold this far into the generation. But maybe this will help them, gain a foothold and then be ready for the next generation is kind of what I'm hoping for. But, all these things I've mentioned as far as like load times, and things like that. One thing that could alleviate a lot of this in the future, and this is something I've been waiting for years, and I don't think it's ever really truly going to happen, but I'm hoping, is that maybe the next generation of consoles will have solid state drives. And if you guys haven't noticed, I don't know if you guys ever looked in solid state drives, but in the last 5 years, like the price of solid state drives has come down like dramatically. It's definitely getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. I remember when I had actually like first even heard of a solid state drive, like I had never even known what that was really until I'd actually worked at Best Buy for a brief time. And when they first came out, they were like crazy expensive. It was like 128 gigs, $500, and I was like, oh my god, like what? That's not enough space for what you're paying for. And over time, it has come down to like a reasonable price point. to where, you know, you still pay a little bit of a premium, but it is definitely, and you don't get nearly as much storage space versus like a traditional, you know, hard disk drive. But it is something that's definitely doable, and I think that if they put those in the next generation console, like say it's only like a 500 gig, you know, drive, which would kind of suck a little bit, or, you know, hopefully they could go to like something larger, or let's say like 750. Imagine a solid state drive in your console, and all of a sudden, you like when you boot up a game, you load up a game, it's like boom, load time gone. You know, you just like it loads very quickly, and that's something that, you know, maybe the next generation of consoles, because we've already like gone so far with graphics and everything else, like it's so crazy. Maybe next generation they won't focus on putting the latest and greatest graphic card in there, and it'll be something that's definitely more powerful, but not like gonna, you know, drive up the cost of the console. Maybe what they'll use that extra in is, if they're smart, I think they'll use like a hard or a solid state drive. I am curious to know what you guys think about that, and if you think solid state drives would be a good thing in the next generation of consoles. So leave me a comment down in the comments below. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Also, let me know about your thoughts about the Xbox One X, and, you know, what's going to happen with it, because I know the internet is rampant with speculation and everything else right now, as far as, you know, like, is it going to be the next, you know, is it going to be the king of the hill as far as consoles goes, or is it going to fail? Microsoft is reporting that it's obviously, like, you know, their fastest selling console of all time, and it's crazy, and they're like selling out basically. But I am super curious to know what you guys think, because I, you know, like I've said, I am really excited for the One X. I was originally gonna pre-order like the Scorpio edition. I actually ended up not doing that because it actually I don't have a 4K TV, and I don't want to buy both. I can't afford it. I think it's gonna be a great console. I don't know that it's gonna be for everybody. I don't know that it was necessary for them to do a mid-generation console upgrade and not just maybe wait a couple years and come out with a new console and just kind of maybe accept defeat this generation. It's a great idea, but I think it's ultimately unnecessary. And I think the same thing about the PS4 Pro. You know, anybody out there, before you start hating on me for, you know, like, I've basically been dissing on Xbox this entire video, and like I said, I love Xbox, but I feel this way about the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. I feel like they're unnecessary. Anyways, guys, I need to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the Xbox One X in the comments down below. I want to keep this conversation rolling, and we're going to see how this game launches next, or when this console launches next week. We're going to see, you know, what happens in the months to come. I'm really excited for it, and I will see you guys again soon.